Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a review on the Shimano Scorpion. This is the Shimano Scorpion Anteres, this is the Shimano Scorpion MG, and this is the 1500 size Shimano Scorpion. I'm doing a 3-in-1 review today, so I will be going over all three of these reels. This is the Shimano Scorpion 1500. I've had no problems with this reel so far. The knobs on it are old, but they're pretty comfortable. The drag star clicks, although the spool tension does not. It has a big button and it feels really solid when you push it down. And I like how the spool and the thing that puts the line on are spaced far apart because it makes you cast longer since there's less resistance if it's coming off one end of the spool and if the thing is over here. And there's actually on this reel no external dial to adjust the brakes. This reel uses Shimano's VBS braking system. It has 6 pins that you can pull out to turn on or push in to turn off. I typically fish it with 2 out as an on, and that is just like the longest casting setting that I don't have a chance of like getting a backlash, because like sometimes I fish it on 1, but if you're not paying attention, it's pretty easy to get a backlash. I fished this reel with 48-pound braid to 20-pound fluorocarbon, and the rod I use is the 7.4 Jackal Extra Heavy, and it just works really good. Because of this extra line capacity, it holds a lot of heavy line, and this heavy rod, it's just a powerhouse. This reel is the Shimano Scorpion MG. It's a newer reel, so the handles are like Shimano's current knobs. The star drag clicks. The spool tension does not. The button feels really solid. And this reel actually has an external brake adjustment system. Although it only has 3 pins on the inside, the outside has 4 different settings. And it's just a lot faster than opening up the whole reel to get to your brakes. I fish it with the 3 pins on the inside pulled out, and then I can just adjust it with this. This reel is super smooth. I've never had a problem with it. I've never had to open it up and clean it out. And it's just been like a powerhouse reel. This is probably my most used reel. I have 14-pound fluorocarbon on this reel right now, and I fish it on an Abu Garcia Bass Field rod. It's a 6.7 rod, and it just works like a charm with this reel. It's a really light rod, and this is a really light reel, so it's super sensitive. This reel is the Shimano Scorpion Anteres. It's the most expensive out of all 3 of these reels, but at the moment it's probably my least favorite and my least used. This rod's handle is the newer Shimano handle. It has the new knobs. It has had a clicking star drag, and it has a clicking spool tension. It has a really deep spool that holds a lot of line, and the thumb bar, it has a really nice click to it, and it feels really solid just like all the others. It also has a 6-pin VBS braking system, and I typically use it with all 6 pins because usually I'm casting lighter baits on this, even though it's a really deep spool. But so it has worked, but there are some things that have started to go wrong with it. The first problem is the thumb bar is so big that when you press it down, it'll actually hit the rod and it won't actually engage the spool. I'll show you here. As you can see, it's actually hitting the rod, and when you try to turn the handle, sometimes it doesn't like actually re-engage the spool. So it's basically impossible to use on rods that have handles that stick up a little bit. That time I got lucky though, and it actually re-engaged the spool. Right now I don't actually use this reel, but when I do use this reel, it's on a different rod that I've actually cut the bottom here so that the spool bar or the thumb bar can actually go all the way down and it won't interfere with the rod. First of all, for whatever reason, the screws on it just don't have like deep markings cut out on it, so it's really easy to strip them, which I did of course. And once you strip them, you cannot get force enough to make this handle tight. The other thing I do not like about this reel is the handle. One time in Virginia, I was fishing with this reel and the whole handle came off. There's actually a spring-loaded thing that holds the drag star like pushed up against the handle, and the pin that holds it in place came out, and so the drag star just kind of like disconnected from the reel and it could like move side to side, and the part in the drag star that actually makes the clicking noise when you turn it fell out, so the drag star on this reel does not actually click. The other thing I don't like about this reel is the system it uses to keep the handle in place. It uses a system with 2 screws that hold the handle. There's actually no like bolt on this side. It's just 2 screws that hold it in, and they're just like really shallow screws and they're easy to strip. And of course that happened to me, and now so this handle does not stay on. It actually wobbles when you try to reel it. You'll probably not be able to see this, but the part that actually holds in the handle that it connects to is really thin, so it got bent. So when I spin the handle on this reel, it actually wobbles side to side even though it's tight. In general though, I do like these reels. This is the most recent one I've bought. I would rate this reel an 8 out of 10. I wouldn't rate it a 10 out of 10 just because it's just not perfect. And when the spool turns, sometimes it can actually rub a little bit on the reel, and you'll actually be able to hear it when you spin the handle. So I'm just taking 1 point off for that. This is the second most recent reel I got. I would rate it a 9 out of 10 just because sometimes the braking feels inconsistent. But most of the time after you've been using it for a few casts, it feels consistent. This is the one I bought the longest time ago, which is about a year. I would give this reel a 7 out of 10. I'm taking 1 point off for the handle, the actual system they use. I'm taking another point off for the star drag being not held in good enough, because the pin that actually like kind of holds it together, it's kind of hard to explain, but it's really thin and it's like comes out of place easily. And the third point I'm taking off is for the thumb bar being too big and hitting the rod.